Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's Cone back here again today with another video, and today I'm going to be giving you my full predictions for the 2024 NBA playoffs. The bracket is now set. The final playing game between Sacramento and New Orleans just wrapped up. We've got our matchups: Thunder Pelicans, Clippers Mavs, Wolves Suns, Nuggets Lakers, Celtics Heat, Cavaliers Magic, Bucks Pacers, and Knicks versus Sixers. It's an amazing bracket. There are very few series here that I think are going to be less than 6 games. I think there's a ton of upset potential, and that's just in the first round. As we get deeper and deeper, the series are only going to get better and better. I think there are so many great squads in the NBA, so many potential upsets later in the playoffs as well. And of course, I want to go through all of them and eventually crown my 2024 NBA champion. Before we get into that though, leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy, hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos, and comment down below who you have winning the 2024 NBA Finals to see if it's the same team that I end up picking. Also, if you want to use this website to make your own bracket, it's bracketchallenge.nba.com/playoff. Hopefully I'll remember to go ahead and link it in the description. Let's kick things off at the top of the bracket with my Oklahoma City Thunder facing the New Orleans Pelicans. They lost to the Lakers in the first playing game, defeat the Sacramento Kings pretty convincingly. Sacramento tried to bring it back a little bit at the end, but the Pelicans were in clear control for a lot of this game. It was an impressive win with Zion Williamson now sidelined due to that hamstring injury, which is seemingly going to keep him out for the entirety of this series, and that's a massive blow. You know, I'm a Thunder fan. I think we would have won anyways, even if Zion did play, but with Zion not being in the series, I think it really kills the Pelicans' chances at defeating the loaded Oklahoma City Thunder. I know people are going to talk about the lack of experience, and some people have brought up valid points with the length that the Pelicans have. Herb Jones has done a decent job on Shea at times, but I just think the Thunder have too much firepower. The Pelicans really rely on Zion and his rim pressure. It's going to be hard for them to get downhill. If they're going to win games, it's going to be a ton of Brandon Ingram, really tough shot making, as well as CJ McCollum. And Ingram was pretty good in this game, but I worry about how he's going to play over the course of a full series when he's still rehabbing from that injury that kept him out for a while. So I am going to pick the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to say they get it done in 5 games, taking the first 2 at home, stealing 1 on the road against the Pelicans, and then finishing it off back in OKC in Game 5. To match up against the Thunder, we're going to have the winner of the Clippers Mavericks. I mentioned this when I made my series breakdown of this, maybe my most anticipated series of the first round beyond the Thunder matchup. This one is really, really interesting. These two teams, of course, have a bunch of history going back a few years to 2021 and 2022 when they played in the first round, with the Mavericks losing both those series, but now he's got Kyrie Irving at his side, a much better supporting cast, and the Clippers have some question marks. They looked amazing for part of the season with the new big three of Harden, Paul George, and Kawhi. Then they took a massive dip, and now going into the series, we don't know Kawhi's status. It's still up in the air if he's going to play Game 1. It seems like he's probably not going to, and if he doesn't play that, does he play Game 2? How does he even look coming off a knee injury that has prevented him from playing in about a month? It's really concerning, and it's again a case where the Clippers have looked great for a majority of the season, but injuries just always seem to strike at the wrong point. And with how hot the Mavericks have been, one of the hottest teams in the league, I think if the Clippers had Kawhi Leonard, they could win this, but I just don't know when he's going to be back, how he's going to look when he's back, how many games does he play. So ultimately, I'm going to pick the Dallas Mavericks to win this. I'm going to say 7 games because I do think if Kawhi Leonard comes back, he can make some switch over to the Clippers, can make some great things happen, but I think Luka Doncic is going to be the best player in the series. He and Kawhi could have an amazing playoff battle. I just like the Mavericks a little bit better at this moment. They have a bit more momentum, and that injury is really concerning. Moving on, we have Timberwolves versus Suns, another series I talked a lot about in my series breakdown earlier in the week. It's a nightmare matchup for the Wolves. I think if they match up against almost any other team from below the Suns, this would have been a cakewalk for them, or at least a lot easier. The Suns feel like they were built to take down this Wolves squad. The Wolves are really good at preventing players in the paint and at the three-point line, utilizing Rudy Gobert and a bunch of length on the perimeter. But one thing that they try to force opposing teams to do is shoot mid-range jumpers, and the Suns are the definition of a team of a mid-range assassin. So I have a lot of concerns. I still don't know if I'm overthinking this because the Wolves are definitely the better team overall. They've got Anthony Edwards. They've got a lot of size, which could be a problem for the Phoenix Suns. And if Ant is playing the way that he did last year in the playoffs, they may just outright win this thing. Gobert, even if he's not having as much action at the rim, is still great at defending all over the court. Maybe they end up winning this series, but I think I am going to pick the upset here with the Suns winning in 7 games. I just think this was a nightmare draw for the Timberwolves. I also do worry about how Cat's going to look coming off that really long injury, with the Suns likely trying to attack him at every possible opportunity on defense. Facing the Suns will be the winner of the Denver Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers, a series that's a rematch of last year's Western Conference Finals. The Nuggets got the sweep in that series, but it was a pretty close sweep. The Lakers were in all of those games right up until the end, so I do think the Lakers are going to put up a much better fight this this year LeBron James is healthier. Anthony Davis has been playing great. He is a bit healthier. D'Lo has been fantastic. We'll see what he can do in this series, but ultimately, Denver has just always had this Lakers team's number. They can't seem to get wins against them. Jokic is the best player in the world. I'm not betting against the reigning champs in the first round at all. Again, I do think the Lakers make it more interesting than last year, so I'm going to pick the Nuggets in 6, but the Nuggets definitely do end up moving on. Real quick, I'm going to go ahead and thank the sponsor of this video, Autograph. Autograph's an app where real fans get unreal rewards. Basically, you go ahead and sign up using code 3CONE. You need a code to get in, so I've got one for y'all. And when you get on the app, you just scroll through the feed and it's got all the top podcasts, videos, articles about your favorite team all in one spot. And as you read through them, just by being a fan and consuming content, you earn these points that help you win cool prizes, like the chance to enter a raffle for really cheap discounted playoff tickets or just tickets going into your team's next season. You could also win signed memorabilia, jerseys, things like that. And again, it's just all by being a fan, which is a super cool concept in my opinion. Not to mention you can refer friends, see where you stack up against them and other people in your fandom on a leaderboard. You can level up, earn specific rewards for you as you get higher in rank, and claim achievement trophies too. There is a lot to do. And again, this is just all by scrolling through the feed and doing stuff you already do as a fan. It's a really cool concept. I really like it. Go ahead and download Autograph. Shout out to them for sponsoring this video. And when you sign up, use code 3CONE and you'll see some of my videos on there too to help you earn some of these points towards rewards. Now let's go ahead and get back to the video. Then we get to the Eastern Conference, where we have a rematch of last year's Eastern Conference Finals in the first round as well, with Celtics versus Heat. There are a lot of people who are thinking, oh, this could be the Heat's chance to go ahead and knock off the Celtics again. They're once again an 8 seed. They've been here before. But the difference is Jimmy Butler's probably not going to be playing in this series. There's a chance he could maybe come back if the Heat extend it. But even with Jimmy Butler, to be honest, I don't think this Heat team stands a chance. The offense is ridiculously bad. It's horrific to watch. The defense is really nice, but this Celtics team is one of the best teams in the league on both sides of the ball. They're way more talented than they've been in the past. They're healthy. The Celtics feel poised to go ahead and eviscerate a lot of teams in this Eastern Conference. I think it starts with the Heat. I'm going to maybe say 5 games, 4 games. I'm going to go with the sweep. I think this might be the only sweep that I pick. The Heat could definitely push it to a 5-game series because that's just kind of what they do. They make things more difficult than they're supposed to be. But I don't think the Celtics have many problems whatsoever moving on to the second round. Facing them will be the winner of the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Orlando Magic. This is a really fun series. Well, it's a fun one if you like the most disgusting basketball you've ever seen, because these two teams are going to play a lot of really physical, low-scoring games, which will be some people's cup of tea. I mean, I'm really excited for it. I think it'll be a good contrast to some of the other series like Bucks Pacers, which we'll get to in a moment. This is going to be a fun one. You're going to see how can the Orlando Magic try to slow down Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. They've got great defenders like Jalen Suggs, Jonathan Isaac. They've been one of the best defensive teams all season. While the Cavaliers have had some issues this season staying healthy, building cohesion on the court, Darius Garland hasn't had the best season in the world, so I think this is a closer matchup than some people are giving it credit for. Plus, the Cavaliers purposely tanked the last day of the season to get this matchup against Orlando, so I think the Magic are going to have some bulletin board material. They're going to come into this aggressive, primed to show that the Cavaliers were wrong for trying to face them. I don't think it'll be enough to get the series win, but I do think they make it interesting. At the very least, I'm going to pick the Cavaliers to win in 6 games, a much more physical series than they were hoping for. Next up is a really tough one with the Milwaukee Bucks going up against the Indiana Pacers. If Giannis was healthy, I think I would very calmly take the Bucks in like 5 or 6, but the absence of Giannis at the very least to start the series is very concerning. He had that calf injury towards the end of the season, which kept him out for the Bucks' final few games, and calf injuries are really serious. They can often lead to Achilles injuries if you don't let them heal. We saw that again, like I've said in a few videos, with Kevin Durant back in the 2019 finals. So they've got to be careful, and this gives a prime opportunity to the Pacers to jump out to an early lead. They've had the Bucks number this season, winning 4 out of their 5 matchups, and that was with Giannis playing. Like, Giannis had a 50-point game in their season series, and the Bucks still lost. What he has done for them this season has kind of flown under the radar. He's put up over 30 points per game and over 60% shooting, the first player to ever do that. Maybe his most dominant season. He was their linchpin defensively for a team that's been bad on that end the entire season. They're only going to regress even more. Dame hasn't really been himself this season either. There are a lot of reasons why I'm concerned about the Bucks in the first place. Never mind the fact that they're going up against a hungry Pacers team with nothing to lose. If Giannis comes back quick, I think the Bucks end up winning this in 6 or 7, but ultimately, with his current status up in the air, I think I feel most comfortable comfortable with picking the Pacers to win this one in 6 games at home, and it would be a major disappointment if the Bucks went out this early. Again, if Giannis comes back, I think this pick switches, but I just don't know enough about his status at the moment to go ahead and pick them in this matchup. Wrapping up the first round, we have Knicks versus Sixers, which is a very confusing series. When I talked about at the beginning of the video having matchups that I was still conflicted about, this is one of those. On one hand, the Knicks are the 2 seed for a reason. They went ahead, won their final game of the season to grab that spot. Jalen Brunson has been unbelievable this season. I mean, he's been one of the best players in the world pretty consistently over the past few months. Might even end up snagging all NBA first team. Never thought that when the Knicks signed him a couple of off seasons ago. OG Anunoby has been a seamless fit for this team. Great defender, hyper efficient shooter, especially out there on the perimeter in those corner spots. You've got Josh Hart, who's been playing well as an X factor, a hustle guy. Dante DiVincenzo has stepped up a lot. Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, great defensive bigs to go up against a guy like Joel Embiid. Miles McBride off the bench has been amazing. Precious Achiuwa has stepped up. This Knicks team has a ton of talent. Bojan Bogdanovic, I didn't even mention him. Alec Burks, they're extremely deep. They've got great defensive talent, a bunch of guys to support Brunson. They feel like they could go really far in the Eastern Conference, but then on the other side, the Philadelphia 76ers, when they've been healthy, they've had Joel Embiid in the lineup, have been nearly unstoppable. Before he got hurt, when he and Maxey played, they were playing at a 66 win pace. That's unbelievable. They were looking like juggernauts. Nick Nurse is now the head coach rather than Doc Rivers, which is a massive improvement there. They've got a great supporting cast around Embiid and Maxey, one of the best ones in a minute. They've got some size. And it feels like they could go ahead and pull off this upset, at least from a seeding perspective. Vegas has this as a 50-50 split, and honestly, that's how I feel too. I worry a little bit about the Knicks' ability to generate offense outside of Jalen Brunson. He has been the guy that's done basically everything for them this season. For the 76ers, I worry about Joel Embiid's health. What percentage is he at? Is he 70% good, 80%? Was not great against the Miami Heat, although that is a team that's always given him problems. But it was very clear that his conditioning was not right. He did really turn it up at the end of the game, so maybe he'll amp it up here against New York, but he's going to be battling Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein with a bunch of really lengthy wings swarming around him with double teams as well, making it hard to pass out of those. Probably going to result in a bunch of turnovers. There are concerns on both sides, but ultimately, I think with the concern surrounding Joel Embiid, because if he was fully healthy, I'd probably pick the Sixers here. I think I'm going to go with the New York Knicks to win in 7 games. They win the final game at Madison Square Garden, which sets up our second round series. Starting off the second round, we have my Oklahoma City Thunder facing off against the Dallas Mavericks. This is one of my favorite potential series. This one to me is neck and neck, a coin flip. It's going to go 7 games either way. It'll be a lot of fun. There is star power on both sides. Whether you talk about Luka Doncic as one of the greatest playoff performers of this era, Kyrie Irving having a billion playoff moments under his belt too. The other side, you've got Shea, who's been one of the best two-way guards in the sport for multiple years now. He's going to come into his first playoff run as the number 1 guy, expecting big things from him. Jalen Williams is a burgeoning rising star, was an elite second option for us. Chet Holmgren, one of the league's best rising young rim protectors, a really solid offensive player too. Great supporting cast on both sides with the Mavericks, having guys like PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford, who they added at the deadline, as well as you've got Derrick Jones Jr. and Dante Exum, Derek Lively, who's been fantastic all year for the Thunder. You have guys like Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins and Kenrich Williams. Josh Giddey has been better as of late for the Thunder too. Cason Wallace. It's going to be a dogfight. I think this is an amazing series. Both teams have some serious offensive firepower. The Thunder do have home court advantage, which I'm going to throw in their corner. And also, I do think the Thunder have a pretty clear coaching advantage. I don't think many Mavericks fans are going to argue with me that Jason Kidd isn't the best coach. I do worry about him having to make some adjustments in a series against a really good Thunder team that can throw so many different looks at you, that has been experimenting with rotations all season. It's going to be really interesting, but ultimately, maybe it's because I'm a homer, but I think the Thunder are a bit more well-rounded as an overall team, even if Luka is the best player in this series. I think the Thunder have a number of the better players as you start to go down the list. They're a bit more complete. They've been doing it for the full season, so ultimately, I'm going to take the Thunder to win in 7 games. If you pick Dallas, I don't blame you at all. Mavericks fans, please don't get mad at me for this one, because I think Mavericks have a great shot to win this one. They are one of my dark horses to make a deep run in the Western Conference. I think I just give the slightest nod here to the Thunder. Moving on to face them will be the winner of the Phoenix Suns and the Denver Nuggets. Last year, these two teams played to a 6-game series in the second round with Denver winning, and spoiler alert, I think that's exactly what's going to happen again. I've got Denver winning this in 6. The Suns are good, don't get me wrong, they've got a lot of firepower, and I think they could find a way to shoot their way into some wins, but I just don't think they have any answer for Nikola Jokic. They don't have a lot of size. Jusuf Nurkic has been cooked by Jokic pretty much every time it feels like they face each other as of late. Drew Eubanks isn't that great of an option either. I worry about the overall perimeter defense and just the health of their big three, which has been a question mark all season. The Nuggets are easily the more complete team. They've been better all season. They've got the best player. So I think they go ahead and get this one done against the Suns, although I think they'll still put up a decent fight. Moving on now to the Eastern Conference semifinals. I think these are a little bit easier. I've got the Boston Celtics taking down the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think I'll go in 5 games again. The Cavs aren't bad, don't get me wrong. I just really think this Celtics team is a juggernaut. The talent that they have in that starting 5 between Drew Holiday and Derek White to guard Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. They've got Kristaps Porzingis with a ton of height to go ahead and slow down Mobley or Allen. Jason Tatum can go ahead and do his part too. They've got wings that can swarm their bigs. Jaylen Brown out there, who's been better than I think people give him credit for this season, especially on that defensive end. I just don't see how Cleveland builds up any consistent offense. I don't think they can slow down the Celtics attack. It's going to be a big problem, especially again because it hasn't been the best year for Darius Garland in this backcourt. I think the Cavs are also going to be pretty tired out from that extremely physical series against Orlando. The Celtics go ahead and win this one convincingly to get to the Eastern Conference Finals, only losing 1 game in the process, which leaves us with the Indiana Pacers and the New York Knicks in the second round. The Pacers, great job defeating the Milwaukee Bucks to get here, but I do think the Knicks go ahead and win this one. I'm going to go in 6 games. I think the Knicks are really good. If they had Julius Randle, I think they would be firmly the second best team in the Eastern Conference on paper. Jalen Brunson, again, has done unbelievable stuff. I don't think the Pacers have anybody that can really slow him down quite like that. I feel like they've got good personnel to throw at Tyrese Halliburton to slow down their overall offensive attack. They may not slow them down completely, but the Knicks are one of the best teams to do so. I trust this team. Last year, they made it to the second round before losing to the Heat. This year, I think they get over the hump and make it to the conference finals, defeating a Pacers team that even winning a playoff series, I think, is a massive accomplishment for them, which leaves us with a 1-2 and a 1-2 matchup in the conference finals. I know that's kind of chalk, I guess, but I don't think many people are going to pick this exact matchup because I think a lot of the seeds are very close. So I'm perfectly fine with this. Thunder Nuggets, again, my favorite team going up against the reigning champs in Denver. I want to see the Thunder make it to the finals. I don't think it's out of the question like some people do, but I do think Denver is kind of a brick wall for this team. You want to talk about a team that lacks size in the Thunder. The Nuggets have a ton of size with Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr. They've got KCP, an all-defensive level player they can throw at Shea. They've got way more experience. I think this Nuggets team is ultimately what's going to stop this Thunder run. It's been an amazing year. If we make it to this point, I'm super proud of the team. I think this is a massive accomplishment. And again, I don't think it's impossible that they defeat the Nuggets, but I just don't think I want to bet against Nikola Jokic in this series. He's going to be incredible. He's always unstoppable in the playoffs, especially over the past year. I think Jokic and the Nuggets go ahead and get it done again, making the NBA Finals. This time being the Thunder in 6 games. I do think the Thunder will put up a fight. They played the Nuggets really well this season, but Denver, their size, their experience is just going to be a little bit too much for the Thunder to overcome. And in the Eastern Conference, I don't think any of you are surprised that I'm going to go ahead and pick the Boston Celtics. I think they win in 6. The Knicks are a tough team, so I'll give them a couple of wins. But Boston is just a buzzsaw. Like, you want to talk about teams that can throw guys at Jalen Brunson. As we talked about the Cavaliers, Drew Holiday, Derek White. You have Kristaps Porzingis to go ahead and go down low. A revenge series against his former team. Has had some great games against the Knicks this season. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. OG Anunoby can only guard one of those guys. You still do have like a Josh Hart, so maybe he could help out. But I just think there's too much firepower on the Celtics side. If Julius Randle was in this series, again, I think it might be a little bit different. It would be closer, and maybe the Knicks could pull off the upset. But I just think the lack of overall shot creation for the Knicks going up against this ridiculous Celtics defense, it's not going to be enough. By this point, Jalen Brunson is going to have to pull off some heroic stuff to get them here in the first place. I think he'll be gassed. And so the Celtics go ahead and win the NBA Final, or Eastern Conference Finals, that is, to move on to the NBA Finals, going up against the Denver Nuggets. Denver versus Boston is a chalk matchup. I know this is what most people are going to predict, but there's a reason. I mean, these two teams have been the best squads in the NBA pretty much the entire season. Denver are the reigning champs. They've got an elite starting 5 with a bunch of chemistry, the best player in the world in Jokic. And the Celtics have, again, dominated the Eastern Conference this season. They ran away with the 1 seed. It was never even close. They've got a superstar in Jason Tatum, a great supporting cast of all-star level players, a better bench than you would expect. This is going to be their second finals now, so they've got a little bit of experience getting here as well. This would be a classic matchup. I mean, both teams can defend, both teams can score. I really don't know which way to go here, because on one end, how do you slow down Nikola Jokic? Like, Kristaps and Al Horford are really fun defensively, but can they stop him? They struggled to in their previous matchups. Jason Tatum wasn't great against the Nuggets in the 2 games that they played this season, which Denver won both of, by the way, so I'm going to keep that in mind. He needs to be a lot better than that. How is he going to fare against guys like Aaron Gordon out there? Michael Porter Jr.'s length. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is an all-defensive level player, so he's probably going to get a tough matchup on like Jaylen Brown, for example. Can JB take advantage of that? What about with Derek White and Jrue Holiday trying to clamp up on Jamal Murray? We've seen what he's done in the playoffs every season, it feels like, in his career, but is he going to have enough to go up against the best defensive backcourt in the league? Which team's depth steps up? I mean, neither team is extremely deep, but they have some guys that can make an impact off the bench. It's an extremely confusing one. I think overall the Celtics may be the better team, but the Denver Nuggets just feel like this unbeatable force at the moment. So I really don't know which way to go. I've battled with it constantly. I think it goes 7 games either way. Do I want to pick the repeat? It's really hard to repeat in the NBA, by the way. And the Nuggets are going to have gone through a pretty tough Western Conference. I don't think the Celtics face that many challenges in the East for real. So I'm trying to consider that as well. I think, and it might be ill-advised, I think I'm going to take the Boston Celtics to win in 7 games. They'll play Game 7 at home too. That's something to take into account. They've been the best team this season. I know people are going to say the Celtics have been favored before and they've always collapsed, but this is the best Celtics team we've seen in a very long time. Like, one of the best net ratings in NBA history, one of the best offenses and defenses in the league. They're so complete. I worry because Jokic is the best player in the series, and I just, again, don't know if he's stoppable, but I think I'm going to lean the better team with the Boston Celtics in this matchup. I could be thinking this wrong, I could be overthinking it, and the Nuggets just go ahead and repeat. If they did, wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. I mean, they're in the finals for a reason and only losing in the final game of that. But I'm going to go ahead and make my pick the Boston Celtics because I think that's a little bit different. I think a lot of people will pick Denver, so I'll go different here. I'll pick Boston to win, and those are my playoff predictions. In the first round, you've got the Thunder beating the Pelicans in 5, Mavs over Clippers in 7, Suns in 7 over the Wolves, Nuggets in 6 over the Lakers, Celtics in 4 over the Heat, Cavaliers over the Magic in 6, Pacers over the Bucks in 6, and the Knicks over the Sixers in 7. Second round, you have the Thunder over the Mavericks in 7, the Nuggets over the Suns in 6, Celtics over the Cavs in 5, and the Knicks over the Pacers in 6. And wrapping things up, we have the Denver Nuggets defeating the Thunder in 6, the Celtics beating the Knicks in 6, and ultimately the Boston Celtics winning the 2024 NBA Finals in 7 games over the reigning champs. These are my predictions. If I thought about them for a little bit longer, I may change them. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to send it, throw them out there. Let me know what you think. What did I get right? What did I get wrong? What did you hate? What did you love? And also, like I said earlier, who is your pick to win the NBA Finals? I'd love to hear what you have to say. Appreciate y'all watching. Good luck to your team. If they're in the playoffs, you know me, I'll be rooting for my Thunder hard. I'm actually going to be in Oklahoma City for the first 2 playoff games. I'm going to fly in there. I'm really excited about that. But don't worry, content will still be coming when I'm out of town. You know me, I never stop talking about hoops, especially not when the playoffs are around. You'll still get videos pretty much daily. But for the moment, I appreciate y'all watching. I'll see y'all later. Real one, say back.